Okay, great. Thank you all for being here today. My name is Judith Myers. I am the Westchester County Legislator for the district that includes this wonderful setting here and this wonderful park, Rye Playland. We're standing in front of a building that used to be a bathhouse for people to come to use the beach here to change into their bathing attire and then go out onto the beach to access the beautiful Long Island Sound. If I told you that there is a children's museum that is committed to developing a world-class site here in Westchester County that will be a learning laboratory for all of the children of the tri-state area, what would you say? If I told you that the Westchester Children's Museum's plan is to create a children's museum here at this very site behind me, what would you say? If I told you that the museum would accommodate a projected 200,000 visitors annually, with an annual operating revenue between $1 and $2 million, and just to Westchester County alone, an estimated $250,000 in parking revenue, what would you say? I think you, like me, would say it's about time that we begin on this project. The Westchester Children's Museum has been a dream for a long time. It was incorporated in 2001. In 2003, enabling legislation was passed in the New York State Assembly and Senate and signed by then Governor Pataki to dedicate this property upon which we are standing, this property behind me, as a children's museum only. This is enabling legislation that would allow this site to be used for a quote-unquote non-park purpose. In 2008, this building was crumbling. The Board of Legislators was told that if we didn't invest money in it, if we didn't invest around $8 to $9 million in rebuilding it, we'd have to spend about $13 million tearing it down. Wisely, the Board of Legislators voted unanimously to build this building on the outside, to reconstruct it, to make it whole again, to the tune of only $7 million. We came in under budget. And that was finished in 2012. In 2012, a 10-year license agreement was signed by the Board of Legislators with Westchester Children's Museum. It withstood a veto by then County Executive Astorino, and it came back again with a full support from the Board of Legislators and was signed by the Children's Museum. Flash forward this year, last Friday night, the county executive sent out a press release saying, save the date, save the time. I'm going to be making a huge announcement in White Plains at a fundraiser for the Westchester Children's Museum. Imagine everybody standing there with bated breath, waiting for the one thing that has kept the Children's Museum from opening here, the keys to the building. Instead, the county executive stood up and announced that he was publicly supporting the Children's Museum for the first time, publicly. Everyone in the room said, "Really? That's it? We need the keys." The Children's Museum has raised the money. They've done what they needed to do. The Board of Legislators has created the enabling legislation. It has signed a license agreement. The county has restored the beauty of the exterior of this building. It's now time to turn the keys over to the Westchester Children's Museum so that they can begin the process of creating a world-class children's museum. I'd now like to turn this over to Legislator Catherine Borgia, who is the chair of our Government Operations Committee, who will be overseeing the development of this building. Catherine.
Thank you, Judy. In all of the discussion that we have had about Playland over the years in the County Board of Legislators, one goal was always in the minds of everyone on both sides of the aisle, and that was how to make Playland be more profitable for Westchester County. One of the excellent ways to bring an attraction, to bring visitors multiple times, to highlight the beauty of Playland, and to bring people to the other attractions we have here at Playland is the Children's Museum. This has been a dream for a long time in Westchester County. Scores, hundreds of people have worked on creating this organization and bringing us to this moment. I can't understand what is holding up the delay of turning over the keys to the Children's Museum. This is an organization that is ready to go. They have raised the money. As the sooner that they get in there, the sooner we're going to have thousands of people coming to Westchester County, spending money. Children's museums all over in Connecticut, on Long Island, all over have been economic drivers for the communities in which they are located. It is time for us to move forward and to turn over the keys to the Children's Museum so we can get going in creating this wonderful, wonderful asset for Westchester County. At this time, I'd like to ask Legislator MaryJane Shimsky, our Majority Whip, to come up and say a few words.
Thank you, Catherine, and thank you, Judy, and thank you to all of you for attending today. As we've discussed, this museum would be a wonderful thing for the children of this county. It would also be a wonderful thing financially for the taxpayers of this county. We talked about how it will bring in a 12-month constituency to this park. It will bring in a lot more in parking revenue. When people bring their families to the park, if the weather goes bad, they could come to the museum. If the weather's bad, they could bring them to the museum. If it gets nice, they could go to Playland Amusement Park. This is a perfect synergy. And over years of very, very hard work, everyone has done exactly what they're supposed to do. The County Department of Public Works, the County Board of Legislators, the State of New York, the long-serving people of the Westchester Children's Museum, the board, the officers, who are the real heroes in this story. There is only one person, one human being, that is still preventing this Children's Museum from becoming a reality. And that person is County Executive Rob Astorino. When he announced that he's actually in favor of the Children's Museum now, after having done everything he could to stop it for years on end, what did he then say? He said, as long as the Board of Legislators approves sustainable Playland, the Children's Museum can get the keys as soon as October. What are we waiting for? This Children's Museum would be a great asset to whoever rebuilds and reinvents Playland Amusement Park. There is no reason to stop this anymore. When you look at this scenario that he's holding out the Children's Museum, who has every right to enter that building today, just as they've had for many, many months now, this is a classic situation of hostage-taking. I ask the county executive, on behalf of the children and the families of Westchester County, please stop holding the Westchester Children's Museum hostage. Give them the keys so they could begin the great work that they have spent so many years preparing themselves for. At this point, I would like to introduce Legislation Chairman as well as longtime advocate for Playland, Bill Ryan.
Thank you, MaryJane. You know, it's interesting that we picked this spot in front of the Children's Museum, and I'm just standing here listening to my three colleagues and looking around, and you know, you can see so many things from here. You can see the beach that required major reconstruction, and our department put its heart into that and got the beach reconstructed and everything under this boardwalk taken care of in a short period of time to bring the beach element back. And from here you can see the pier. Pier, of course, still needs a lot of work and attention. And I'm looking at the ice casino. We have a lot of work to do. There's a tremendous amount of revenue budgeted in this year's budget having to do with the use of ice time at the ice casino. I'm looking at the roof, which presents a big problem. We were shocked as a legislature to find out that the timeline that we thought was in place for the opening of that building is not, in fact, the timeline at all. It's much, much longer than that. I look at the very, very tiny section of the boardwalk that's been repaired so far. I remember last week riding around and listening to local radio, New York City radio, making this announcement that everything was done. And you can imagine as a legislator coming up here last Saturday and looking at it and saying, no, everything isn't done. This is a project that is greatly delayed, especially in the context of all the communities along the Atlantic and the progress they've made. Behind that dome, I know, is the amusement area, and I know sits the Dragon Coaster, which that's the iconic ride here in Playland. A number of years ago when I was board chairman, I asked a brand new chairman that I had appointed to the Parks Committee. It's a wooden structure. It sits here next to the water. It's salt air. You need to maintain this structure. You need to be able to finance that work. You need to allow important items to come before the full board that have to do with the maintenance and the financing of the work. And that young chairman was Rob Astorino, and he refused to allow those bond issues to be reported to the floor of the legislature for us to do what a responsible government official would do that has an amusement park, make sure everything is kept up. There was a bathhouse behind me. There was the boathouse down the other end of the park. Those were structures that were in great need of rehabilitation, and that chairman of the Parks Committee, Rob Astorino, would not allow those bond issues to come to the floor. He could rail till the cows came home, and that was fine. But you had to let the legislators vote to move forward with that work. I look at this and I put it in that kind of context. You know, when your heart's not in it, your heart's not in it. I don't care what he says or what people report back to me about an event he attended, and he seems so optimistic and enthusiastic about Playland's future. The track record is different. He's never been a supporter of Playland, and he's had this park on a program to fail. And every single thing that you can do to enhance this site, to make Playland better, make it refresh it, make it new, every single thing has either been blocked or a drag has been put on it. And here we are coming full circle to this building behind us. I'll tell you what shocks me. What shocks me is we're not walking in here this morning and seeing a structure that is almost there. Work almost completed. A children's museum that's almost ready to go, to open its doors so that thousands and thousands of people throughout the year can come and visit it. That's what I find most shocking. The lawmaking, policy-making branch of this government made a decision years ago that this is how this building was going to be used. And as my colleagues mentioned, money was invested in this building. It looks great. You walk inside, this is all ready to go. The Children's Museum simply needs the keys to enter the building to begin the work. So you would wonder, why would such a popular project, and as a legislator, I can talk to you about popular projects, people correspond with you all year long. Do this about the budget, do this about the parks, do this about childcare. One of the biggest, I got to tell you, by far probably the biggest in recent years, effort that was underway where the public was communicating with this legislature about something they wanted was the Children's Museum. People on the street, letters, phone calls, emails. It seemed to me it was almost unending. And as a legislator, you know when you're getting 10 letters on something, and you know when you're getting 250 emails. It represents something. It represented real support out there. And taken in the aggregate, all the legislators' experience, we all would huddle up and say, this is something that the public wants. So it's such a popular project. It has the potential to create initially construction jobs and then longer-term employment for folks. It has the ability to put money into the county coffers. Why would you stand in the way of that? Unless you don't really support the museum, and you don't really support it as an enhancement to this park, and you don't really support what has been going on down here for 85 years that has been just fun and great times for so many people. Yesterday and today I had a chance to talk to 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders. And they didn't know it was coming, but at a point in the presentation, one at their school and one in the legislative chamber, I all of a sudden sprung on them the question, can you help me resolve an issue? I want you to tell me how you feel about this. And I asked them about Playland Amusement Park. And they exploded. The smiles, the laughter. I said to them, if I could roll a bus out here, we could all get on it and go down to Playland. You've all been there, right? Every hand went up. Oh, please, please do that. They wanted to come down to this amusement park. They love the place. And you know, it's an unending stream of kids from close by, from Westchester, from the greater Westchester area, from the region. It's an unending supply of kids. All you need to do is stay on top of it and offer things that kids will enjoy and the families will enjoy. And we've talked about, you know, changes, making it a little bit newer, refreshing it, new elements. Well, here's a new element for you. What a great addition. And yet still, you walk inside and nothing's going on. And only certain people can get through that door. And today I still ask the question, in light of what this legislature of Westchester County decided years ago, and the action that they took last year and last fall, why are we still at this point today? Why are we still, as a people, arguing with the county executive? It was pointed out, one guy. Seems to be, there's a fly in the ointment. One guy is standing in the way of this. That's wrong. Especially when you look at who in fact supports it. And it's the legislature unanimously representing close to 1 million people in this county. And yet, we're still stuck. It's still stalled. So, you know, my message to them this morning is, hey, wise up. It's this is a very popular project. People are going to they're going to enjoy this place. They're going to learn from it. The kids will have a great time. It's an unending supply of visitors, an unending stream. And some added benefits, too, that we're concerned about right now. And that is some jobs initially, some longer-term jobs, and, of course, important revenue from the operation of this museum and from the parking that's out there in the lot available to all of the people that will come and visit. This has got to stop. All of this work. This museum has got to get going. All this work that you see going on, you know, I can't help but feel that this is one big intentional drag on this place. So it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. He's stated for years he's not interested in the county having this. His heart is not in this. It shows by the great delay of the work that's supposed to be going on. It shows by the lack of investment, the lack of marketing money. And here you have this jewel of an addition. And nobody can understand why. It just sits there and there's no movement. Thank you for coming out. I'd like to, at this point, to introduce Bill Haley, who is treasurer of the Westchester Children's Museum. Bill.
Good morning. My name is Bill Haley, and I'm a board member and treasurer of the campaign for the Westchester Children's Museum. Let me start by thanking everyone on the Board of Legislators who have supported the Westchester Children's Museum over a long period of time, granting a lease that will allow us to build a museum right here in the North Bathhouse. We're not home yet, but once we actually occupy the space, we can set in motion a plan that will allow us to open the museum's doors in 14 to 18 months. Recently, we've been encouraged by a constructive dialogue which has opened with the County Executive's office around its plans for Playland. This also includes a dialogue with the Sustainable Playland Group. We thank both of them for endorsing our museum project last Friday night at our annual gala, and we issued a challenge at that time for all parties to come together to finally make the Children's Museum a reality. On this occasion, I'd like to be clear. We are not a political organization. We are a committed group of volunteers from all over the county And we're gratified to have figured prominently as a centerpiece in every plan that has been put forth for the revitalization of Playland. We consider that an affirmation of the importance of our project to the community at large, and we're frustrated by the endless series of delays that have impeded our ability to move forward on this important and socially desirable project. Westchester Children's Museum enjoys the support of approximately 5,000 motivated and passionate citizens and donors who have generously provided time and funding to develop a comprehensive set of building plans, which we can implement immediately. The architects have done their work. Westchester Children's Museum is ready to go and needs all parties to come together and finally give us access to the North Bathhouse space. This will allow us to take the museum and its dream of a year-round children's educational facility to the next level and beyond. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak.
Thank you very much, Bill, and thank you all for coming today. I will open this up for questions if you have any, and I do ask all of you to please join us in demanding that the County Executive give the Children's Museum the keys. Thanks. Any questions? Yes, sir. It's a great question. Bill?
Thank you. Over time, we've raised over $8 million. The project has been going on for over 10 years. We've actually put good use to that money. We've maintained our administration over that period of time. And we've also invested in a comprehensive architectural plan, which now goes for bid to contractors as soon as we have access to the space. Our assets currently are over $2.5 million. We have been public in saying that anywhere from $6 to $10 million is what will fully build out the museum space, and we expect to do it in a phased process.
Anybody else? Questions? Well, again, thank you all for being here, and thank you for supporting the Westchester Children's Museum. Bye-bye.